Madam Deputy Clerk, time 7:03. I'm going to call this council meeting to order. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Regina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, sorry. Yes, I got to split up. I got two motions that are being looked to add. So I need a motion first to add those two. Is that Councillor Gallo? Is that what you're going to ask? Yeah. Pardon? Sure. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask that we 9.1 interim forecast update. I believe it's come straight to council and it's only a motion to receive, but I have a lot of questions. So if we could we push that to the next committee of the whole? There's no urgency to it.
Which would be September. Is that fine?
Unless there's, I mean,
we can, when we get to it, we can defer it to them.
Sure.
Or refer it to September.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And just if I'm correct, is this straight onto a council agenda?
Yes.
Was there a reason why it didn't go to committee of the whole?
I would have to ask Mr. Ray Van Kessen.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we've done the last few of these straight onto council meetings because they do not require any decisions. They are more just for informative information purposes. Part of this is some of the agenda management as well, so that since there's no decisions actually being required.
There isn't, but there's a lot of information there that could influence particularly a budget going forward. So I mean, I have a lot of questions and,
okay.
and you know, it won't be resolved tonight. So
when we get to it, I'll ask you for that. Yeah, Councillor, I got your two motions, so I need a motion to move it, to add it to the agenda. Yep, seconded. Councillor Gilliland, and we need 2/3. All a vote. Councillor Gardner. Councillor Gardner is yes. That's defeated. It's the approval of the agenda. Someone want to move that? Councillor Kim, seconder. Councillor Thompson, any comments or questions to the agenda? Call the vote. That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Community presentation, we have 5.1, Miranda Link, Youth and Community Development Coordinator. and Sparrow Owls Youth Programmer regarding John West Memorial Scholarship Award presentation. Welcome. That's why the plaque was missing upstairs.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor Marakis, esteemed councillors, and everyone in attendance, both in person and virtually. Let's start by all taking a quick moment to reflect on what an amazing time it is to be an Auroran in 2025. Over the past year, we've had the opportunity to celebrate the grand opening of not one, but two new state-of-the-art facilities, Aurora Town Square and the Sark Gym. We've rallied behind our very own Andrew Nembard as he came within one game of an NBA championship. And we were once again named as one of the top 10 places to live in Ontario. Our town motto has never been more true. You're in good company. Today, we have yet another opportunity to celebrate Aurora's impact on the world in the form of the winners of this year's John West Memorial Leaders of Tomorrow Scholarship Award. This year's winners truly embody the spirit of Aurora, and we know that like many before them, they will add to our town's sterling reputation, showing the world why our home is such a special place. As a platinum youth-friendly community, the town of Aurora has countless opportunities for youth to engage with and give back to their home. This year's winners have both taken full advantage of those opportunities and made invaluable contributions to the town, which we celebrate here today. Our first winner is Haley Graham. Haley's story is that of courage, perseverance, and advocacy. Working hard to overcome personal struggles early in life, Haley became an active voice, advocating for others who didn't feel as though they had a place amongst their peers. Through her position with York Region District School Board's Youth Space Mental Health Initiative, she has had the opportunity to lead symposiums on mental health awareness across York Region, using the results to design and implement a number of board-level projects that have been implemented in over 100 York Region schools. Haley serves her immediate community as the student council president of her school, Dr. G.W. Williams, where she ensures that she focuses on promoting inclusivity and creating opportunities for all students to engage with their communities and thrive. Haley utilized her passion and skill in music to co-create a brass quintet that has received national acclaim. Despite her busy schedule and high level of accommodation, Haley makes sure that her ensemble finds time to give back by performing at the Chartwell Retirement Community for residents. This fall, Haley will take her talents to the west to University of Guelph, where she will study arts and sciences. She hopes to continue to exercise her personal pillars of advocacy, public service, and mentorship through university and into the workforce, drawing on her Auroran experience as she widens the scope of her initiatives and impact. Haley, we are excited to see the impact you will have on this world, and we are proud to have been a part of your journey. Thank you for all that you have brought to our community. Our second winner is Dabria Petadragos. I have had the personal pleasure of getting to know Dabria over the past 2 years through the town's Youth Engagement Committee, where she sat as one of the co-chairs. As a leader of the YEC, Dabria was integral in connecting the town of Aurora's recreation team and the Aurora youth community. She helped design, promote, and implement countless events and initiatives to connect youth to the town and, more importantly, to one another. Along with her involvement with the YEC, Dabria has received honors for being the first ever two-term president of the York Secondary Catholic President's Council, where she represented the voice of over 50,000 secondary students. Dabria has used her role with the York Catholic District School Board to launch and sustain a record number of board-wide initiatives, including but not limited to Spotlight of the Month, Good News Movement, Where Are They Now? And most notably, Secret Santa Presents for Indigenous Children, where she organized a gift drive for underprivileged Indigenous families in Nunavut. Dabria's advocacy and leadership extends beyond youth-specific engagements. Dabria spends the little free time she has volunteering at South Lake Hospital and Chartwell Retirement Home, where she spends time providing support and comfort to patients and residents. Dabria has received commendations both in and out of the classroom. She has received subject awards in 10 different subjects. She's been nominated for Western National Scholarship, Queen's Chancellor Scholarship, and her passion for medicine has led her to be accepted as the youngest ever recipient of the University Health Network's STEM Observership, where she shadowed Toronto General's chief thoracic surgeon. Upon completion of her observership, Dabria was invited to join his lab as the youngest research student he had ever taken on. Next year, Dabria takes her talents to my own alma mater, McMaster University, Go Marauders, where she was being accepted into the very prestigious health sciences program. Dabria hopes to continue exploring her passion for medicine during her time at school while continuing to support initiatives that give back to her community. Dabria, we look forward to seeing you continue to exercise your passions for medicine and service to the community. We thank you for the impact you've had on Aurora and know that you will have the same impact wherever you go. Haley and Dabria, the town of Aurora, mayor and council are incredibly proud of your accomplishments and contributions to our town. We are honored to present you both with the 2025 John West Memorial Leaders of Tomorrow Scholarship Award. As I said before, it is an amazing time to be an Auroran. Haley, Dabria, display your Auroran heart with pride and know that no matter where life may take you, you'll always have a place here at home in the town of Aurora. We would like to invite you both down to receive your certificate and take a photo with Mayor Maracas, members of council, and Robin McDougall, our Director of Community Services.
I'll say a motion to receive the presentation. Councillor Weiss. To receive the present. Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions? Ladies, congratulations. On behalf of the town of Aurora, we are extremely proud. And I know that you guys are excited to, I guess, begin the journey, your next journey, the next chapter of your lives as you go out, I guess, into the world, into university. And I think we're excited for you. And I know you're very excited. And we know you're going to do great things. And we know you're going to make Aurora proud. As was mentioned, there's lots of things that Aurora should be proud about many people. And there's a lot on the sporting side, but you guys are on another side, right? Which is we should all be tremendously proud about. And we know that we have such a bright future when we see youth just like yourselves stepping up and taking action. So thank you for what you do. And we look forward to seeing what the future holds for both of you. So congratulations again. Also, I'll call a vote. Carries. You're welcome to stay. Thank you, everyone. So move to delegations, 6.1. We have Boris, resident. Is he not here yet? All right, I'll go to the second one and then we'll see if Boris does come on. He's supposed to be coming on by phone call. So if he does come on, we'll go to him. If not, we'll move on. 6.2 we'll move to is Jordan Drodge, resident, regarding 8.7.1. It's the Windrow program pilot. Mr. Drodge, welcome. You have 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Drodge. I live at 98 Richardson Drive in Aurora, which has now become known as the Halo House. I've read through this well-written report prepared by Matthew Volpintesta, I hope I said that right, of operational services. And sadly, I have to agree with him that at this time in its current form, the Windrow removal program is not effective and putting the town at risk of potential liability and claims. However, I would like to speak more to the importance of making this program work. The staff who attempted to implement this service should be commended for their efforts, despite the initial pilot being doomed to failure due to inadequate resources and misaligned expectations from the program's participants. As stated in Matthew's report, the spirit of the service that the town attempted to provide was not in line with residents' expectations. It should be made clear to program participants that the town's Windrow clearing service is not intended to meet the service level of perfection that one might expect with private snow clearing services, but to provide emergency access and ease the burden on our emergency personnel when they are responding to residents' distress calls. I found myself in this very situation during the massive snowstorm in February of this year. After spending the better part of 2 days of constantly clearing my own driveway, the fire hydrant on my front lawn, the windrows of 3 other neighbors' driveways, and a portion of the roadway where parked vehicles prevented the plows from clearing, I rolled my ankle and crashed hard to the ground, unable to get up, thinking I had also broken some ribs. I was laying on the ground in cold, wet clothing for about 12 minutes before I collected myself enough from the pain to call for help. My wife, Stephanie, was at her parents' house, and after a short phone call, realized she was not able to get out of their driveway, called back, and offered to call 911 for me instead. Firefighters from Central York Fire Services showed up a few minutes later and assisted me into the house to warm up and assess my condition. They stayed with me until paramedics were available, which on this particular night were overwhelmed with other calls, and it was nearly 45 minutes after the 911 call before an ambulance from the Vaughan area made it through and transported me to South Lake Regional Health Center. By the time the paramedics arrived and we were on the way to the hospital, nearly a full hour had passed, and what could be described as the best case scenario for these conditions at the time. Had the driveway not been cleared, it would have been much more stressful on the first responders and taken additional time to get me into the ambulance, time that could mean the difference between life and death for someone else in need of their services. A video of this ordeal taken from my security cameras, which are enrolled in the York Regional Police's security camera registry, is available on my website, localmoron.ca, and is titled Christmas in July. While we were waiting for the paramedics, one of the firefighters told me about another call they had been on where an elderly man had collapsed on his driveway after clearing the snow and took a substantial amount of time crawling to the warmth of his garage before he was able to call for help. A few years ago, I was quite impressed with the Good Samaritans who live around our previous address on Corbett Crescent. Our neighbors Hyro and Sonia were away on vacation when a substantial snowstorm dumped a significant amount of snow. Because of where their driveway is located, the windrow formed by the plow pushes a much larger amount of snow into their driveway, and this particular one was about 7 feet high. Myself and a few other neighbors used our equipment to clear the windrow for them, ensuring they would not come back home to a 7-foot wall of ice and unable to access their house or their vehicles. With our aging population of seniors, those with disabilities, and the increasingly poor cardiovascular health amongst all age groups, the strain on emergency services responding to cardiac and other injury events is only going to increase. This puts not only the residents, but the responders themselves at increased risk of injury and burnout. This problem is expected to become so prevalent that I have taken preemptive steps to ensure at least one automated external defibrillator is publicly available within my neighborhood. 2 are currently installed near the front door of my home. The AEDs are locked and protected in heated cabinets with the lock codes available to 911 dispatchers to relay to anyone who may require their use. We can only hope they are never needed. I strongly believe that with some guidance and proper allocation of resources, through mutual assistance, this windrow removal program can provide a type of combined insurance to achieve its intended result and not only reduce the risks to residents most in need of this service, but to our first responders as well, who work so very hard to ensure the safety and well-being of us all. Thank you for your time.
Can I get a motion to receive, refer? Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gallo, comments, questions? Councillor Gardner?
Just a comment. Thank you for coming forward. But there are very unrealistic expectations about how fast the windrows will be removed. And I think that's part of the problem, part of the equation, but it has been referred back to staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo?
Thank you, through you. I just wanted to say thanks so much for coming here and delegating. Obviously, there's good and bad things that can occur by this program. You pointed that out, and we have recognized that there are some shortfalls. And I think every municipality had a tough time this year with the snow clearing in general. And it's no secret, no matter how big or small municipalities, there was a lot of pushback, and we're having this discussion in their own councils today. But most importantly, I think what you had pointed on was the health and safety factor of especially our aging population, cardiac arrest, injury, and so forth. And these are all things that I think that we must, as a town, contribute to helping this particular sector of our population. So I am looking forward to what the town does bring back. I want to see this move forward in a way that is viable, but I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket based on this winter, because it was unprecedented with the amount of snow we got on a continual basis. And it's the nature of the business and snow clearing in general. Sometimes you'll work only 3 days of the entire season. Others, it's a lot more. But I appreciate you coming here and it giving us your own experience. I think it really does go home. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Drodge, thank you for coming. Call the vote. Carries. Boris is on the line. Boris,
Speaking.
hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, we can hear you. So you have 5 minutes and go right ahead, sir.
Okay. Just a second.
Boris?
Okay. So can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we can all hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. My name is Boris. I am resident of Aurora. Today I would like to talk about a snow windrow clearing program. I have read in the article in the local newspaper, the Aurora, dated June 12. The subtitle of the article says, I quote, staff recommend against continuing snow removal program. However, the article does not address the challenges that many seniors and people with disabilities face when attempting to clear windrows. Without this program, these residents would be at risk of injury, which is both unfair and unethical. During a recent conversation with my local councillor, I learned that the town council is considering continuing the program, but with an increased fee. While I understand the need to balance the budget, it is important to recognize that many seniors and people with disabilities are on the fixed incomes, making even a modest fee a financial burden. Instead of increasing costs, I propose exploring ways to reduce expenses while increasing revenue for the town. I think that to increase revenue, the number of participants should be also increased. This would be possible by decreasing the price. Here are my calculations to support this. I observed that the time for the plow to push the windrow is 6 seconds for my standard 2-car wide driveway. Most of the time for a plow operator is the traveling time, but not the time for an actual job. So the increased number of participants would not significantly increase the total time of the operator. Therefore, increasing the price would not be beneficial for either the participants or the town budget. Here are my calculations to support this. In last season, 384 paying participants contributed $38,400 to the budget. My proposed scenario, if the fee were reduced to, say, $50 and the number of participants increased to 1,000, the revenue would be $50,000, which is an improvement over the current situation. Alternative scenario with increased fee, if the fee were increased to, say, $150, the number of paying participants could be decreased to 200, resulting in $30,000 revenue, which is less than current amount. The travel time, the total time, and the expenses would remain about the same as last season, but the town would lose money. Therefore, increasing the price would not be beneficial for either the participants or the town budget. Here are my calculations for the reasonable fee. The time for snow plow spent pushing the windrow is approximately 6 seconds. The average time to remove snow from a whole standard driveway is 20 minutes and fee is $500. This is according to ChatGPT. So just windrow clearing takes about 0.5% of the time. So the cost on windrow clearing alone would be $500 multiplied by 0.5%. So it's $2.50. But considering traveling time and towns subsidizing efforts, a fee of $50 would be a fair price. Personally, I have been satisfied with the quality of service provided so far. The equipment currently used is sufficient to remove enough snow to allow one car to pass. That's it. Thank you for your attention. I trust that the town council will continue the same services, but with the reduced fee.
Boris, can I get you to finish up?
Okay.
You're past 5 minutes. Oh, you're done?
Yeah, I will finish. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
done. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I get a motion to receive and refer. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gallo, any comments or questions to the delegate? Seeing none. Boris, thank you very much. I'll call the vote.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Councillor Kim? That carries. So move to consent agenda. Any items on the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll ask for someone to move 7.1 to 7.8 inclusive be approved. Someone want to move that? Councillor Kim, seconder. Councillor on the consent agenda? I'm just in the sevens right now. I'm not in the eights yet. I'm not eight yet, Councillor. 7 consent agenda. Oh. Is there a seconder? Councillor Weiss, thank you. Any comments, questions? Call the vote. That carries. So we'll move to number 8, committee of the whole. Any items anybody wants to pull? Councillor Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 8.3.1, 8.7.1.
Councillor Gillan?
8.9.4.
Any others? Councillor Gallo? Nine point one, we'll just get to that. That one we'll get to.
Sorry?
9.1 is on the regular agenda, so we'll just get to that one when we get after we go through the 8s. Don't need to pull that one. I'm still going to come back to you for that one for the defer. Any others? A motion to approve all items in number 8 minus 8.3.1, 8.7.1, 8.9.3, 8.9.4. Someone want to move that? Councillor Gillan, second. Councillor Kim. Call the vote. Carries. We'll move to 8.3.1. Councillor Gardner, you pulled this. Did you want to move the recommendation? Do you want to move the recommendation? Thank you. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gallo, thank you. Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of what has been happening in the last few days with the heat dome that's over this area, it's not as serious as the one in BC, but I would like staff to also consider a cooling center because it's easier actually to die from heat than from cold. So, and in some of the older homes and apartments in Aurora, there is no air conditioning. So I think it would be a good service to offer that. Maybe nobody takes us up on it, but if we're going to offer warming, I think we should also offer cooling.
Ms. McDougall.
Through you, Ms. Mayor, certainly if that's what council wishes to do, just to keep in mind in the cooling scenario, we offer our centers now, recreation centers, to get in out of the heat. And the daytime heat is usually when it's at its peak. Overnight, it drops down into more reasonable, still warm, but it's much more reasonable and it's not in that extreme element at that point, usually under the 30s. Drops back down. So when our facilities close at that point, the exterior staying outside is at less of a harm, albeit it's still warm, but is less harmful. But certainly if that is council's wish to also include in this scenario, cooling, we can look at that as well. But right now we do offer our cooling centers now as recreations to get a reprieve out of the extreme heat during operating hours.
Councillor.
Follow up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not a weather expert, but I think it was very, very, very warm the last few nights. I don't know if it was the dangerous level or not. And maybe it's not for this particular project, but as we experience more conditions of climate change, they are predicting more of those very serious warm weather emergencies. So perhaps, Ms. McDougall, if through Mr. Mayor, if you can, if not, perhaps it's a motion, another motion that I have to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. Carries. 8.7.1, Councillor Gardner, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? You seconder. Councillor Thompson, go ahead, Councillor Gardner.
Yes, I see him there. My mic is on now.
Yeah, I just needed a seconder before we turn the mic on, Councillor. Go ahead.
That makes sense.
That's
Mr. Gartsbein, he did write us all an email. I wanted to ask staff, did staff see this? Did staff, pardon? Thank you so much. I'd just like to know if his reasoning is, I won't say makes sense, but would be effective if we were to increase the number of participants, and we wouldn't be increasing the time of the snow plows that much, depending upon the area that they had to go to. What do you think about the proposed scenario where he's saying it would only possibly cost $50? Although I think I don't remember what the actual amount is to cover the costs completely, but certainly it was a lot more than $150 that we were talking about last meeting. Through Mr. Merritt, to our director of
Steenkamp.
a lot.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly the resident has some suggestive position on how we could potentially improve the program. But I don't think he necessarily understands that we are funding this through seasonal employment. So he is speaking to specifically just the cost for the driveway plowing, whereas the full cost is not just the 5% of the time that they spent doing the windrow clearing. It's to fund their full salary to implement them, to have them available for that program. So increasing the number of participants would require us to increase the number of seasonal staff we would have in place to deliver the service standard that is the expectation of residents and set out in our model that we put as part of the pilot project.
Councillor.
So to Mr. Gartsbein, if he's listening, so the idea is, I can see how he comes up with this reasoning, but from what you're saying, it would cost us more if we have more participants because we need more staff. Is that basically it?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is the reality. Certainly with the number of driveways we had this year, if we were to keep it cost neutral, like it was the desire of council, it would cost us effectively almost $200 a driveway to provide the service. That is in line with other municipalities that we've talked with that are either providing the service internally, whether it's subsidized or not, or whether it's contracted out. And in most cases, when it's contracted out, that service actually costs more per driveway.
Right.
We'll be exploring all this in the next report and provide council with many different options and scenarios and hopefully guide you to some sort of decision.
Thank you. And so to the resident, to anybody else who's listening, and there are a lot of people interested in this, there will be a further report that will come back in September. No, when will it come back?
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to make sure you moved the original recommendation, correct?
Right.
Yes, not just to refer it back to staff.
Right.
Okay, so we're putting that original recommendation back up. Just to make sure there was a bit of confusion there for a second. There it is.
Right. So
Okay.
September right there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. Carries 8.9.3. Councillor Gallo, you pulled this. I'm gonna move that. Thank you, seconder. Councillor Gilliland, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I bring forward this motion today with a clear and focused objective to deliver a 0% tax increase in 2026 Town of Aurora budget without compromising service levels or our long-term fiscal sustainability. Aurora residents are feeling the ongoing effect of inflation, high interest rates, and rising household costs. As a municipality, we have an obligation to demonstrate resistance and empathy during these challenging times. This motion charts a responsible course that balances affordability for residents and continued investment in our town's future. The foundation of this approach lies in the strength of our tax rate stabilization reserve, which currently holds a balance of 6.4 million. My motion proposes using a small portion, approximately 630,000, to fund the 1% fiscal strategy contribution that typically goes forward towards our capital reserves. This allows us to maintain our infrastructure commitments without raising taxes in 2026. Let me be clear, the use of this reserve is targeted, temporary, and well within our financial means. The remaining reserve balance remains strong, and any impact on future years will be minimal, especially as we direct staff to explore a comprehensive set of cost containments and efficiency strategies. This includes freezing non-essential hiring, delaying low-priority capital projects, identifying grant opportunities, and reviewing our service levels for efficiencies, all while keeping service levels intact for our residents. This motion also calls for meaningful public engagement so that residents have a voice in shaping our budget that reflects the needs and priorities. In summary, this is a prudent, compassionate, and forward-thinking budget approach, one that keeps services strong, puts residents first, and protects our financial health. I respectfully ask for council's support, and the mayor send a strong message to the residents of Aurora that he is paying attention, he cares, and is prepared to move forward with a 0% tax increase for 2026. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Reese, I hope that everyone has something new to bring to the table because we discussed this 2 weeks ago. Councillor Reese.
Yes, I have great expectations that the leadership team are capable of being able to do this work. We've looked at the last budget. We look at where trimming is possible, and I'm in favor of it. And I think it's the right thing to do for an empathetic and quality community. Thank you. I'll be voting for it.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like some clarification. I believe it said in the financial report we got tonight that it was the reserve balance is closer to 680.
Swear Van Kessel.
$680,000.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's not a reserve balance. The tax stabilization reserve is at 10% of the levy, and the target would be about 6.8 million, or around just over
Thank you.
6 million.
That's what I meant. The tax stabilization reserve is now sitting at a higher level than 630,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. Through you to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel. Granted, we did touch on this 2 weeks ago, but again, if we choose not to increase the cash to capital to catch up for using the tax rate stabilization reserve, what did you say would be the impact over the next 10 years?
Swear Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So if we do a one-time draw from this tax stabilization for the 630,000, that would be used for 2025. We would need to catch up on that for the remaining 9 years of the 10-year plan. So it'd be somewhere around 5.7 million that we would lose in capital funding for tax funded projects unless we replace that in the future with higher tax increases.
$5.7 billion, not minimal.
Any other comments or questions? was gonna say, I always care. I always listen to the residents. And staff and I, as I said, when we go through the budget, I know that even as council, we look for every efficiency we possibly can to make sure that we deliver the best possible budget and continue to provide the best possible services at the best possible price. That is our obligation to the residents of the community, and we've been doing that for a very long time. And this is why we take a balanced approach to it. And I will not harm the future of our community for something that is many economists call fiscally irresponsible. Call a vote. Split the motion. Councillor Gordon, did you want to speak a second time?
I'm just wondering, and it wasn't addressed in any of the financial report. Are there any calculations with other municipalities of how much we spend, for example, on staff per resident? Our actual costs, what it costs for each person, our staff cost.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we don't have that information. We'd have to do some research to generate that information. The other thing is we'd also have to do some further analysis into it because it could be skewed if different municipalities are approaching operations differently. For example, fire services, for us, it's a contracted cost because Newmarket has the employees versus other municipalities that may or may not have a fire service. So it would take a fair bit of work to actually gather the information, but then also review it and analyze it to make sure it's comparable.
Councillor.
Yes, follow up, Mr. Mayor. I have heard, and I think it may be true because it would be on the record that Newmarket spends much less money than we do on the operations budget, which would include staff. I just want to just ensure residents that we're getting value for money. Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think when you're looking at that operations budget, it's a tax funded budget only and not including water and wastewater as well, where we do have significant costs there.
Right.
Yeah, and just let you know, Councillor, Newmarket did separate their water, wastewater from their operations.
Right.
So that's why it looks like at a different number. And I will say that Newmarket tax rate is a higher tax rate than the town of Aurora. We are the 8th lowest in the entire GTHA.
I'm just really wondering about the staff complement.
That's right. And I'm sure
Read the population.
I'm sure we'll provide that information once we get closer to the budget. But if Ms.
Thank you.
Council can pull something together for you, absolutely.
We do it in budget, that's fine. Thank
Okay.
you. For budget.
So 1 and 3, and then the remaining. Does everyone understand what we're doing? We're voting on 1 and 3 right now, clauses 1 and 3. I'll call the vote. Carries. The remaining clauses. This is 2, 4, and 5. Call a vote. That carries. 8.9.4, Councillor Gilland, you hold this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Someone want to move the recommendation? Councillor Kim, is there a seconder? Councillor Thompson, go ahead, Councillor Gilland.
Thank you. I would like to vote on it separately because I feel it's a moot motion. I felt that way at the very beginning. I had already asked through Mr. Mayor to Director of Planning, is this something that staff would be doing if it received royal assent anyway? And the answer is yes. So I really don't believe that we need to be directing staff to making these changes within our bylaw, since they already are instructed to do so just by the nature of the job. It did receive royal assent. So again, the way I feel is this is just a moot motion. Thank you.
Gallo.
Thank you. Just along those lines, I just want to hear from staff. If this doesn't pass, does it change anything? For you, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Wainwright, Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it doesn't change anything. We still have to abide by the legislation and the changes to the Development Charge Act. While it has received royal assent, it hasn't received the ministerial orders yet, so it is not in effect as of yet, and we are still waiting on that information to come from the province.
Councillor.
But just to my question, if we don't approve this, does it change anything? We're still waiting for all of that.
Swear, Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we are still waiting for all of that.
Thank you.
Councillor Reese.
Yes, one of the reasons that I brought forward Bill 17 in the motion today was to express some of the opposition that is occurring across the province to this bill as well as Bill 5, but 3 people did not want to hear that. So my other problem with this is when I've discussed this on DC reserves and the effect that it may have on DC reserves with our treasurer, she said that this would may create some problems in DC reserves, depending upon the amount of development that is implicated. So given that this is as hypothetical as it can be because it doesn't have any ministerial orders, I'm not going to be voting for this.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I believe our esteemed Councillor Rachel Gilland is correct that this motion is mute because it has passed royal assent. As I said a couple of weeks ago, in case someone was mute, this was for communication and just discussion and from a council that talked about efficiency of getting supply in the market, that this would be a good news discussion. Frankly, it is mute. It's no more mute than dozens of motions that appeared before us by other councillors. So I think this is my first mute motion. And if you want to call it mute, that's fine. You guys can reject this. It doesn't matter because the point is we had the discussion. So thank you.
You. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gartner.
I would like to know what other moot motions.
Speaking to the motion. I'm not going to have
Well,
a
I'm-
back and forth. Councillor.
Okay. It's that's a surprise to me that we've passed.
I would
moot
suggest you maybe
motions.
go offline with the councillor and you guys can figure it out. But go ahead.
No, it was said, so I think it needs to be questioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo, second time, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but you can't let one person say it and not the others. It's unfortunate that Councillor Kim decided to go down that road, but he should explain himself. Who puts motions that are moot? How irresponsible is that to waste everyone's time? If you wanted to make a public announcement, there's a section in the bylaw that takes care of that. You didn't have to waste everybody's time and effort in doing something that's already being done. So who's putting forward moot or intentionally, because you realized that this was moot, yet you moved forward with it anyway. Who's intentionally putting moot motions forward?
Councillor Kim.
I think another word for mute is putting up motions for staff to do something when they're already in the process or motion of doing it. And I think I'll leave it at that.
Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. Seated. 9.1, Councillor Gallo, did you want to motion to defer to September? To the GC, or sorry, Committee of the Whole, December? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Weiss, thank you. Any comments or questions? Mr. Thompson?
I guess through you to Councillor Gallo, just, I understand you have a lot of questions, but it's only 8 o'clock. We have time. I don't mind working through the document tonight to be able to answer your questions and any other, questions other councillors have. I'm not quite understanding why we're deferring it to September when it's obvious we could deal with it right now.
Councillor Gallo?
Well, because I have a limited amount of time at council, it says come straight to council. It's an information, more or less, report. What's the difference whether I do it tonight or in September? And some of my questions, I'd like to have a sit down with staff and have them go through them with me.
Any other comments, questions? Call the vote. Oh, it's not in sec. Call the vote. Carries. New business, Councillor Kemp.
My deferred DCs motion again. I'd be happy to bring that up.
Councillor Gallo, you got new business? No. Mr. Thompson, new business?
Thank you. I guess through you to, Mr. Ramuno or Mr. Serio, with respect to Bill 5 and Bill 17, once the regulations are coming out, will staff be presenting a report talking about the impact to the municipality? I certainly, in my own perusal of different municipalities, have seen lots of them provide sort of an impact report on what they think it will be, and then council or whatever will take actions from that point. But I just want to be some reassurance. Oh, look like it's Van Kessel, perhaps.
Through Mr. Mayor, so we were already planning on a report relating to development charges in September that deals with some of the deferral options and looking at the ones that were recently considered by York Region. And we were planning on adding the impacts of Bill 17 as it relates to the DC Act into that report as well, and what that looks like from the town's perspective and how that will impact us overall.
Councillor.
Perhaps Mr. Ramuno can weigh in.
Mr. Ramuno.
Through Mr. Mayor, yes, and we'll also add our comments on the changes to the Planning Act.
Councillor.
Perfect. I know AMO put out a statement last week and they touched on parts that, they were appreciative, that were reflective of comments that they had previously provided the government. And so there are aspects of it, I think, that they're hoping to collaborate even more for. So look forward to getting the report from staff. And, I think at that time, whatever action council wants to take would be more appropriate.
Did you have something to say to that? Is So, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Just to add to Councillor Thompson's point, I mean, the reason why I voted no to Councillor Weiss's request is because I knew that staff were preparing this report. And hence, I didn't want another mute conversation when we don't have all the details. And with respect, Councillor Weiss, this is a long bill with multiple sections.
What's the point of order, Councillor?
Is that we're talking about new business, and right now we're having a banter back and forth about Councillor Weiss's motion.
I think Councillor Thompson brought up about the report, and Councillor Kim is expanding upon his thoughts on that report coming and why he's voted. So
He's explaining about why he voted against a change of agenda. It has nothing to do with what Councillor Thompson was saying, in my
it's
opinion.
under new business. He can speak to it if he'd like.
I
Councillor
just
Kim,
don't think it's relevant.
it's new business. Councillor Kim, continue.
Yeah, and just to continue, and I meant it with the utmost respect, Councillor Weiss. It's not that I just didn't want to hear the motion. It's just that because there are multiple sections in that bill, and your motion was to oppose the bill in its entirety without knowing all the details, I didn't want to send the message outside of Aurora that we are rejecting the bill without all the information that is part of that bill that hasn't been released yet. So that's the only reason why I didn't allow that in. It's not just to upset you or frustrate you in any way. So that was my reason. Thank you.
Councillor Gardner, new business.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, through you to Ms. Chinkamp. When is the David Tomlinson Wildlife Park going to be opened officially? And in that, the butterfly garden?
Teen camp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. There's still some completion of the last and final phase. So it includes like a kiosk, welcome center on the south end near the SARC. So we're working on that right now. And then and there's a couple other areas within the park that we still need to do some works. The trail signage needs to all go in as well, along with the interpretive signage. So we're hoping next spring we'll have a grand final opening, and we're working on those other items right now.
Councillor.
That's good news. And in keeping with that, if anybody can see this on camera, I am going to entrust you with, through you, Mr. Mayor, with these look like pen and ink drawings from Mr. Tomlinson, which would be nice to put in that kiosk. Thank you very much. And I would also like to say I did not attend the Pride Parade this year. I chose instead to go to the Legion, where they did a mortgage burning, and you only get one of those. So I picked them. And I don't think we really understand how important a Legion is to a community of ex-military and their family. And I hope we can just take every opportunity to support them. Thank you.
Councillor Gallo, new business.
Thank you. I just want to follow up in some of the conversations about Bill 5 and so forth and the motion. And my only comment would be that that's why we discuss motions, so we can make a decision on the motion. And simply the motion that was before us was to waive procedural bylaw to allow the discussion to happen. Councillor Kim, you could have voted no for the motion at that time, but I think what Councillor Weiss was asking was the opportunity to have that discussion, and that was not allowed. It's two completely different things. You had made up your mind before even allowing the discussion to happen. So that's different. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Natarozny, you had released a council update newsletter, and there was some pretty exciting things in there. And one of them was about a facility or a town asset that has been renovated and is now available for use for the public. But within that release, it said that it was confidential and we weren't allowed to share that information, but yet I did see some of that release on social media. So I'm just confused when we do receive this information, and it's very exciting things. At what point is councillors going to be notified when we can share this type of information on these exciting things?
Mr. CEO.
And I think you know which building I'm talking about, but I don't know if I could say it. So if you may.
Through Mr. Mayor, I just, in that memo, I just note that sometimes there are things in there that are pre-information. So there's generally a mix of things in there that are, you know, sensitive or less sensitive. And sometimes we're in the process of doing communication. So, so I just put that on there as a kind of guideline so that it's designed to be pre-information for council, but it's, there's certain things certainly that are confidential as it relates to other levels of government or things that we're not allowed to exactly say. So I don't go through that newsletter item by item and indicate the level of confidentiality. It's just a general theme for that memo, sort of like a internal memo to give you a heads up.
Thank you. Thank you. So I guess that's saying that I can speak to it then? That's this asset then? Can I say what it is?
CEO.
Not sure.
One of the, it's a facility that was just renovated and is available for use for the public for services. Yes.
Through Mr. Mayor, sure, I guess. I don't know what the communication plan was. Again, I just put those out because I never know what we're actually doing, but I suppose if there's something out, then I guess it's fine to speak to it.
Okay, thank you. It wasn't really indicated within the newsletter whether or not there was a specific release date. I just said in July or in the summer, so I wasn't really quite sure. So the building I am talking about is the Patch House. So you are now able to resume matrimonial ceremonies, I think coming July or the summer. Mr. Nadarozny, was that correct? Okay, that was what I wanted to verify if we could let people know. And I thought that was very exciting because it's been a long time waiting. So that was something I wanted to make sure people knew about. Secondly, to you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. McDougall, I'm just curious. I know in the town square, we did a bunch of screenings for NBA games, and something that was announced. It's great. You know, I advertise as much as I can to let people know, but at the same time, I had people asking me about the financial impact of the event as well, and was hoping that through Mr. Mayor to Ms. McDougall, you could maybe bring a report back to council outlining the costs and maybe some of the KPIs of that. And also maybe just also, I don't know if anybody has anything to say about that, but the noise and stuff like that, it would be interesting to hear if any councillors or anybody received any feedback from that. Is that something that you would be able to provide for council in September?
McDougall.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly. Yes.
On a council report?
Yes, if that's.
Thank you.
council
Agenda?
wishes, sure.
Thank you.
Councillor. Councillor Reese, new business?
Yes, thanks. Just with respect to the delegation, and on, I assume I can talk about the audit here because we didn't have a new business item at that point. But the issue I have is really about what the delegate suggested, that there may not be adequate opportunities for public consultation and input to the budget. And I believe I spoke with the gentleman prior that said that there are public opportunities. We've seen them well before for him to be able to be involved. But if what's happening is that we're not getting that information out, I'm just through you to the communications department. Do we have a plan to focus on the budget that's upcoming and the numerous ways that our residents can get involved with that in an obvious way? Through you, Mayor.
Michelle? Turned off. Microphone turned off.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there is an extensive communications plan for the budget. And my team is involved in that. And I know we already have started promoting the budget and participation from residents. I can get further details and send that to you if you'd like.
Yes, well, I've seen the surveys and all of that, and I value that, but I think he's more interested in the more public in the chamber types of events. And I think in the past, we've seen them not well attended, and I think it's a good time that we put some extra effort in making sure that they're attended through social media and other channels. So I just wanted to bring it up to you to see what the plan was, and I'm happy to see that something's happening.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can refer back to Carly and discuss that with her as well.
Great, I appreciate it. And I will comment on my motions. The motion arose out of Kathy Duncan at the Committee of the Whole. And then it was followed up as I'm a chair of the Environmental Advisory Committee, and there was strong interest in doing the research to bring this back to council so the council could have an opportunity to discuss it and decide whether this is the right, whether the opposition is the correct thing to do. So I'm a little disappointed that it happened the way it is, but I accept the procedural bylaws and the 1/3 majority, although it's not democratic, but it's there for various purposes. So I thank you, Councillor Kim, for your explanation about why you chose not to support this, but I do believe that it needs to be heard. Unfortunately, it's timely. And as you heard from Ms. Duncan, as well as yourself, saying that it hasn't had ministerial orders yet. It has had royal assent, but it doesn't explain why 10 to 15 progressive municipalities have seen to oppose this bill because of a number of things. That one of them is DC's, and that's not the most interesting one. There's a lot of oversight, overreach that is in each of the bills, both Bill 5 and 17. And I would have thought that this council would like to hear and have a discussion about it. So my question then is, will this be on the September agenda? It may be too late to have much effect, but if it's on this September agenda, then I'd be happy to move it so it's on the agenda.
Councillor, if
Is
you'd
that
like
possible?
if you'd like your motions on the September agenda, we just follow the proper process and they'll be on there.
I will do.
Thank you. New business. Well, I'll just say it's disappointing that Andrew Nemhart, I know it's not really new business, that they didn't win the NBA championship, but we're all proud of the effort they put in. When you lose a star going down like that, it's not much you can do. The watch parties, I'll just state that they were great. It was a great community building thing. I think we're going to be doing more and more of them when Alistair Johnson is in the World Cup, or Roar Boy we'll be doing that as well. Whether if Robbie Thomas in St. Louis ever makes it into make it to the finals again, Morgan Frost, Barclay Goodrow, these are things that we constantly envisioned for that area, and so we're gonna continue down that process and making it an exciting community space for the entire town. So I will bylaws. Someone want to move the bylaws? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim. Comments, questions? Call the vote. Councillor Weiss? Councillor Weiss is yes. Well, carries confirming bylaw. Councillor Gallo. Councillor Kemp. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.